Young people are part of our youth program. We're really excited about talking about our youth leadership and action programs. And one, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. And so one, we want to start with some introductions. I know you all have had some very unique roles to play in Moore Square because of your own personal passion in regards to racial equity in this amazing city that we live in. So we'll start first with Addison Hickey, who's our youth organizer for Moore Square. Who's also one of the youngest of our staff. Please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what do you do, what school you go to, and what you love most about Kansas City.
Hi, I'm Addison Hickey. I go to Century City Academy. My favorite thing about Kansas City is probably the people. I like my family, all my family's here, my friends. So yeah, I just like the city.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, next we'll go with Jadon Jones. He is a youth program alumni. Talk to me about your connection to Moore Square and one of the lessons you made in the city for all five people.
So my name is Jenna. I go to work in the thing I love about this city is I'm kind of people a lot. And I like how business.
Thank you. Okay, Devin, you're up next. Devin Johnson. He's over our junior years. He's been involved in Moore Square since you were a lot shorter than me. And taller than me. That's a long time you've been involved in Moore Square. Talk to me about your involvement and why you have such a passion for the work.
Hi guys, I'm Jeffrey Johnson. How I got connected was through Laura, a great friend. We did for the past couple of years. And really just, what got me so passionate was just seeing my own community, seeing the people around me, and just seeing just how great and how wonderful our community environment is already, and how we can do better. Working towards this solid and great.
Thank you so much. And I know you've been very involved with the fundraiser and being able to be really a voice for Kansas City, and especially young people in Kansas City. And Moore Square has been very successful in achieving a lot of goals. And think about one, the focus in really empowering youth to lead in justice, equity, and community transformation across the country metro. And you've been a huge part of that and the work that you've done, as well as drawing other young people to this work. Some of the highlights and successes that Moore Square has been able to realize through the youth program includes the Summer Youth Leadership Program, which focuses on young people between the ages of 12 and 17. That is youth professional leadership, organizing in really history, because a huge part of the work of doing racial equity work is understanding the history and understanding we don't fix it, we're bound to repeat it. And so a lot of the work that you all do is really learning, talking about that, Jeffrey, some of going through the youth leadership program and what that's like to really learn about the history of not only this nation, but this city.
I've been at the youth leadership program since I was very and just wondering about the history of not only our great nation, but also our even greater city, is honestly empowering. And it shows that there's a lot of good, a lot of bad. And that here in society, those programs that we put in place within our nation is very much intentional and have said that. It also shows how people are resilient and how people can make changes in our community, fight for what we believe. So honestly, the program has been very impactful in my life.
And very successful. The youth program has also achieved the YCHA ordinance, which is usually about an ordinance passed to launch a youth violence prevention hotline through the city health department, which is a huge deal. When we talk about the violence in our city, which is something ones to where you have a little more free time and more opportunities for people to make bad decisions. And so I know that's a huge part of the work that the city is doing, is also more square and youth program, being very instrumental in launching that youth violence prevention hotline. So that when young people know things are going on, they can call this number and say, hey, this is going on, we need some help, we want to do something. And also, the juvenile fines and fees reform, most of you are now leading efforts to eliminate juvenile fines and fees in Missouri. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on too, because that's what we're doing right now. Something that really stuck out to me is how involved you all are in not only being able to amplify the experiences of young people here in Kansas City, but being able to advocate for them. Because of the things, as someone who's definitely not a teen, I'm not thinking about that. But being able to have a hotline or a lifeline, if you will, so young people have a safe place to call when they know things are going on, whether it's in their neighborhoods or in their schools, they have a number to call and being able to be active for the students. And so that's so important. I know that some of the work with more scared in the program has been very continuing on doing, and that's part of the reason we're doing, even having this talk with people, so we can go on even more young people who want to make an impact change in their neighborhoods and their communities. And so, one, I want to talk a little bit more about the race equity part. And right now, we're in a time in our country where conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion are really, in so many ways, kind of snuffed out, making people uncomfortable, not wanting to talk about these things. It's still very real in our neighborhoods, our communities, and our schools. And so we think about really kind of what inspired you all to get into this work. I'll start with you, Aspen. What inspired you to step into this role to end those layers when we know a huge part of what we do is around racial equity?
So like growing up in elementary school, we don't really learn to talk to people, Harriet Tubman, and so for the first week, some of them were did, Laura was learning about so many people that I've never learned about, so that's what really got my attention, and made me want to talk more about race and history as Black people. So that got me, and then I went through the summer program twice, and both years were amazing, and I wanted to do more than just the summer program. I wanted to help people who look like me, people who are experiencing poverty inequities in the world. So as my proposition, and ever since then, I've been able to do so many.
Thank you. I kind of ask you the same question, Dion. What inspired you to step into your position and want to be a part of the new program?
My dad got me into this group, so what inspired me was how big the city really was. I never knew how to treat was until I actually saw it. And because when we went to the creek, my dad showed me this one piece of land over there, and he told me I was just looking trash so I want to take one of those things to this work so I can help out.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Just to clarify a little bit, the Father Jay does some of the work in the environmental justice area, and I know you work with them a lot. And so again, it is so important that we, as people of color in the city, can definitely, as our families, understand the impact of injustices, even down to our workforces, even down to our streets. And so really, the work that North Square does is across the board, not only we think about criminal justice reform, but also environmental justice, and that's something we're very much involved with. So thank you for sharing that. My next question is for Jeffrey. What drew you into leadership and how has it shaped your perspective? And again, I keep on saying it because I can remember you being so very young, being a part of this work, and now you're helping me. I can say that too. But tell me about you getting involved at such a young age and then maybe what has held your interest, continued your interest in wanting to see this work?
Honestly, what continued my interest is just seeing my community, seeing what those set institutions that I previously mentioned, like housing discrimination, to food deserts, to environmental justice in general, how that affected our communities, how that not affected how people get jobs, how people get housing, how people get nutrition, and all those other horrible aspects about our institutions today. And just honestly, it gave me a level of empathy, a level of trying to help reach my community and actually help create change within it, and actually shaping the world to where our future generations don't have to deal with those type of inequities within our system, and those type of injustices.
So talk to me, since you have, now you're in high school and you've been involved for so long, talk to me about how that impacts or affects you in the classroom. So when you're in the middle school classroom and then in the high school classroom, and hearing the teachers talk to you about history, how has your knowledge and understanding and learning through the more spirit and leadership program impacted your desire to learn and understand on a deeper level in the classroom?
Honestly, it helps shape the way I think about different types of issues, in the sense that history in itself was made by many the people who shape those institutions. History are the people who put us down in the community, set those barriers up so we can succeed. So when I heard those said things at our program, I was first, baffled. Then I realized that honestly, those past institutions were not raising, holding the truth from
Do you believe that the Moist Spirit Youth Program has helped you become more of a critical thinker?
more trying to understand the world better, actually trying to find the truth in the lives that they have themselves.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Jadon, I want to talk to you as an alumni. How has the program impact your personal growth and confidence? Even being up here on the stage right now with me answering these questions, I mean, that's a huge part of the program as well, getting more confident and being able to be allies with things to care about the classroom. And so, talking about how the program impacts your personal growth and confidence.
So, for my confidence, it helped me with that. If I really need to be on stage and really talk about something, because if I was never in this position, I wouldn't be able to do that for my growth. So, my growth, it made me grow a lot. So, I can say things I want to say. Like, I will take a real long time talking about it, because I will say I don't know. But then, when it comes to, I'm also to let it notice.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now I'm going to talk about organizing policy impact, because ultimately, more square, the medical organization for which we have equity, is really about harnessing power, people power, and being able to impact change. And so that means our leaders, our organizers, our volunteers, our people spend a lot of time with capital. They spend a lot of time at City Hall. They spend a lot of time one-on-one conversations with change makers, with decision makers, so that we are able to impact in such a way that we're making decisions, ordinances can pass that support those equity in the city. And I know that with the youth program, that's part of the work that you all do as well. That's very powerful work. It takes time to build relationships, it takes time to maintain relationships, and it takes really courage to be willing to challenge those very same people who build those relationships with. And so that's what I'm gonna talk to you all about now. What issues or policies are most of the people leaders working on right now? Talk about kind of what's going on right now.
right now we're focusing on youth funds and fees. We're trying to get that eliminated and implemented in the youth system, which will pretty much just not will teach them to learn from the mistakes that they have made, rather than just making them think.
Why is that important for you?
Because just having the parents, the money that they are paying for is just pretty much. And as kids, we don't have kids are going to mistakes. Big and small, that's a part of something so small, that'll affect their life down the line as 50, 20, 20. So just like having learned from their mistakes, whether it's community service, classes, just anything like that, is a lot better than
And tell me about the process. What is the process that you all go through when you are trying to cut an issue? Talk to me about someone who's not familiar with the organization as a whole. Talk to me about what that brainstorming, like how do you all decide what issues you're going to go after and what do you do in order to affect change in that way and create these ordinances?
So this issue could be an issue, we go ahead and sit down and we have a lot of issues that we get. I want to pick this one because I feel like as you, we should be the voice for you, but I want adults in the industry who don't really know what is going on. They're new. A lot of adults use was a different time of the day, probably with technology and different things. So being in this generation is a good thing to be able to speak for this generation. So that's pretty much why I think that in jail and just people work they agree with each other.
Once you all decide on the issue, what's the next step?
We've been doing a lot of research, we've gone to a lot of conferences with debt-free justice. We learned that debt-free justice. We learned a lot about the issue.
What's that in mind for you?
It's been interesting. A lot of the things that I have learned, I didn't know. I didn't even know conferences existed before I took this issue, actually. And it's just like interesting to learn that a lot of the money that the government is making on the press is really not an ethical way. They're pretty much getting money off of people's out of our funds being involved. It's just not fair.
Thank you so much. And so now we want to talk about share an example of youth voices and involvement that really made a real impact. Talk to me about the experiences that you all have within the youth program and how you being able to decide on the issue after the board has actually made a difference. And I want to read you this.
Honestly,
Sharing an example of youth voices and involvement in making real difference in some of the work we've done in the past or working on now to see the real impact.
honestly, watch. That's been a huge game changer. Uh, we started live chat back in 2021, and ever since then, it's grown. Heard that we've had a lot of people, a lot of teams being able to talk about how they're feeling and how to resolve gun violence and itself. And there's been small little merchandise for it. There's been people at Anchor Peace trying to basically advocate and share the message of live chat. And honestly, it's a game changer. You know, I had their little widgets on the back of my phone. And
And I know I spoke at it a little earlier, but you were actually there when they decided on that issue. Talk to me about it. Talk to me what was going on during that time that you had the idea of trying to formulate a line for young people to follow. Talk to me about what was going on at the time and what you all had to go through before you do to make that come to fruition.
so, honestly, what we had to go through was a lot of political work, a lot of trying to negotiate with politicians, more specifically the city manager, who had a private meeting with them. We also had a ordinance passed that would allow live chat to exist.
And so did you have to explain to city leaders why you all felt that this is important for, and being able to fulfill team violence?
Yes, we were able to communicate that with the mayor and the city council members. Including, I believe it was Robinson and
So what's it like to be sitting across from the city leaders, and find the word and being able to advocate? And did you want that to be convincing, or once you all stated your case and your position, were they really agreeable?
honestly, we all know politicians. You know how they want their interests at heart, and how they're sort of wanting they're wanting to have power and only doing what they do. So we sort of have to tell them why it's so important for us as youth to have this program in the first place. And once we were able to convince them, it was from there.
I think that's an awesome example as to how the policy work really does connect with the lived experiences of young people in Kansas City. And you said how this project has been a huge success. Can you talk to me about, and all of you will answer this question, do you know of young people who use the line or situations in which that has been, a connection point for young people who you know or want to reach out?
Not that many people who have used it, but I have heard of different organizations like youth ambassadors in the city, then they said that multiple kids, how the kids around the city have used it. They piece themselves, the one who are older, have told me that people have used it. So honestly, it's something that obviously sort of baffles me. But I'm glad that they are, in the sense that they're able to get and receive the services that they need. Basically, they're able to
It's a really cool empowerment, and think about the effective areas of violence and violence to young people getting in the active and other connecting people. What other things do you think young people can do from, what else can you do to help young people or just create a safer space for young people? What other things can happen to be safer for young people?
I personally feel like with like curriculum codes, there's not a lot of stuff for kids our age to do. So it's like when we do things, it's always trouble in a way. Because curfew's 8 p.m.
Yeah.
There's not, I mean, it's just like things like that, having things for kids to do. Because I mean, there really is only like all the fun in the city to do, especially like at our age. And it's just like some of those things, like going over the front bridges isn't fun. When you do go, it's shut down because of fines and stuff like that. And it's just like, I think there's a lot of things for kids to do. At least as a 17-year-old, I'm still in between, I still deserve spaces to be.
honestly, I would have pointed at the city. I'm taking all of this from the state. Because if we be a real quick second, honestly, we, as kids and as young leaders, are dealing with a lot of stuff. For example, I was dealing with a lot of personal issues and a lot of personal issues in my life. And when I took it up to the state didn't listen. They didn't care. And honestly, it affected me, and it still does. Honestly, in the sense that they are supposed to be our leaders, the people who are supposed to be our own public servants, and for them to not even care about what I'm going through is enough to say that we need to have change within our society. Another thing is that we had a lot of school shootings, a lot of gun deaths within our society, and instead of banning guns, they're banning phones. For example, in my school, they basically had us in yonder pouches while I'm over here stressing out about homework. But if somebody decides to bring out a gun in the middle of school, so it's honestly it's a bit of a stressor enough. As a kid who honestly has to deal with a lot in my life, and I'm 17. I just turned 17 yesterday, and I'm supposed to be worrying about college. I'm supposed to be worrying about getting a job and getting a car and driving around and homework and everything, man. And I'm worried about if somebody's going to shoot up the school. I'm worried about if I'm able to get the right nutrition out of it. I'm worried about all of these things that I shouldn't be worrying about and the state should be worrying about. So, honestly, it's as much as we as a people would like to point fingers at all the people, it's not them, it's the state legislature and our state government that needs to step up to help us as not only as kids but as future leaders.
I love that. And in fact, that's a great segue into our next section, which is the power of youth organizing. Obviously, we've been involved for a very long time, but the idea that we could absolutely benefit from having more young people involved. So, what challenges do young leaders face in schools, as you spoke, or in the greater metro community when it comes to affecting change or even getting other young people to be more involved? Why do you think kids aren't as excited or apt to get into organizations like this? What are some of the challenges you all face as being young people trying to change things on such a large level?
I feel like a lot of the time our voices aren't heard because we are just kids. Sometimes our opinions aren't valued. They see us as just kids and we should stay in the shops and listen. But I feel like the future is ours. We should be able to step out and say the problems and speak about the problems we see in our world. Because again, the future is in our hands. What's all the others are on. It's us. We're going to be
Yeah, what do you see? And you're currently on the program. Talk about why you were drawn to it, and what do you think would have to be happening for more young people like yourself to get involved? And what are some of the challenges being so young trying to affect
last year, there was, a lot of talk on, this event, what Jeffrey said about the, last year, I think it was more time than we think. So there was, I think, threats, threats for the school to get shut up. It was big threats. It was all talk online. Some people emailed me, some people called me, all of that. So, I was scared actually. I was had to tell us like it was all over the internet, basically, almost. But that kind of frightened everyone. So we need people like me to come up here and see. There's been a lot of talk about gun violence in real life. Nobody's been taking action.
And so when you look at even the number of, not children, young people, but mental health and potentially as a whole, about communities and how does that make you feel? And does that make you, being a part of this program, do you feel like this is going to have the power and the ability to affect change, and not only for young people, but for the city as a whole?
I feel like I would be the kids will be able to make change because nobody's still having to action about all this school for some reason. There's not any, I feel like all schools should have the ability to. That's what I think. That's what I call safety. That's what that's what makes me feel safe or something. Because when I go to school, everybody goes to it's the no, it's the word. You don't know what's going on. When you tell me that somebody stab you in that moment,
And do you think, like, you feel like that you're going to school, and you're in public education, you're mindful that if they don't have mental factors, that someone could bring a weapon, that's something to think about, as far as just situational awareness?
I feel like somebody really could bring my weapon. I don't want them to even be clear because no, you can't do this without it because all the other issues, like, they can't carry their back. That's not a basically my school. You have to go to that because or you just go to that so
Thank you. Same question, Jeffrey, what challenges do young leaders face in schools or in greater metro communities when trying to affect change?
Honestly, just within the institution itself, is that, honestly, what they learn. And honestly, how politics are not talked about, or advocated, honestly. For example, like, I was talking about the election with some of my friends, they're like, oh, politics, they don't affect me. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm just sitting there like, what are you talking about? Because like politics, they affect everybody. They affect where you live, how you go to school, how you read, like everything. And especially when it comes to when it comes to the new administration, I won't give names, but how they want to get rid of our own history, especially as black men in America, seeing how our future generations, how they're not able to get the education that they actually deserve and the actual truth, it just pains me. It brings me a big distraught because all they're about to listen to is, to be honest with you, the whitewashed version of America, what they want you to do. And I know I sound all crazy, sound like I have the tinfoil up on my head, but it's the truth. Because in nowadays, a lot of people don't know about what happened here in America. A lot of people don't know how Black people have prospered into the people who have been oppressed, and have been taken down by mob violence, mob rule. And yeah,
And so I think the next question as well, I'd love for you to unpack, what unique strengths do young people bring that have helped enable them well, we've been being on this ground organization for so long? Where do you feel like the myth is? Like, what do you feel like young people can bring to the organization through these programs that maybe the adults won't catch them up, won't see?
that is something. And a better self-function, especially when it comes to the internet and other stuff, and how you basically know almost everything that it tells when it comes to the internet. We can be able to unlock the truth and actually know what's happening within our society. For example, back in like 70s and 60s, you don't really know about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. But now in 2025, you sure do. You see it almost everywhere, especially around social media, and especially with the fact that like social media basically encapsulates or sort of
Eliminates.
yes, and especially with the fact that a lot of youth know about the internet and know about what's going on, we're able to see and make change and actually react, you know? But yeah.
Right, that's a good point, because I do think even as an older person, who's got on myself, that's really, I just did. It's easy to run the world through our filters, my own children, and so I look at the world based off the world that I grew up in. And because of social media and online and the internet, you all are going through a completely different world, and so I appreciate you sharing that. Same question, what unique strengths do young people bring that helps them?
I disagree with Jeffrey with like the technology and stuff. I literally can watch things that happen in the country. Even with the technology, I feel like our technology is still being controlled by the government and they're showing us what they want us to see. But as a girl, I know that there's ways to see what's actually happening. Though they want me to see to everyone, I can't see to my own vision and see what's actually happening. So like just that in the difference.
So is that something you all do, young people, do you fact check, so if you were to sit down and watch the local news or national news, are you gonna jump online and also Google it and figure out other perspectives? Is that something you all do? Talk about that.
It was just out of the just over Israel, Gaza, and Palestine, and not just what I remember. It was like I know I watched the tapes on. There's one of the times that I watched that part of American, so that I can get other places, viewpoints, history, why it's happening. Just like doing that research and things, and not even just that, just like a lot of Black history that we know.
Maybe 10 questions, you all, I mean, because as one, the world we live in, and also your connection with this work, you find that you're constantly, double checking, fact checking, what you see in the news.
I always do, personally, I do it daily, I do it back in time. But, so constantly, I'm into that mindset. I have to always action, especially whenever it comes to voting for the festival. Whenever it comes to social media and YouTube, they sort of get to the facts wrong. You know what I'm saying? And especially, it leads to more of a susceptibility of hate, and that leads to just them just repeating the same old cycle, not actually helping grow as a community. So honestly, yes, I do fact check, and I believe that everybody should at least Google something and at least know the history about, and know the truth about the society that we live in.
So why is it important for young people to get involved in equity work and specifically racial equity?
I feel like for so long, our people that look like us have been set back, and it's time for us to step up and make that change so that we can be on the same level as them, if not ahead of them, because that's what we deserve, and that's what we need in our society.
I don't know if everyone answered the question.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Aspen said, honestly, like I said previously, game is real. You know, institution is real. It has really us, especially when it comes to black people, brown people, Latino people, etc. We have constantly had setback after setback after setback after setback. Just for white heterosexual males who are, to be honest, a bit capitalist mindset to be women over and over and over. And so, honestly, that needs to change. It changes, and it starts with us, you know. And that's the reason why equity is so important in our community, because we've been set back for so long to the point where we're not able to prosper ourselves. And so we need sort of that leg up, you know. And we need that boost to where we could actually prosper for ourselves and actually help ourselves so we can become a better people.
Absolutely. And when you think about that growth and prosperity, it absolutely means there has to be the building of the movement, which obviously North Square is part of that, as well as the youth program. And so, talking about what advice would you give to other young people who want to get involved?
I would say specifically as a youth women, join our program. For some program, there's a link in the chat box to join that youth and those that want to support us. So join that, put your name, phone number in there so that you can join us. But also just as a youth, speak up about issues that you see in the world, good and bad. Advocate for things that you don't like. And that will take you a long way.
Same question, I would want to do that.
Honestly, piggyback off of what Ashley said, again, one of my friends, a very close friend, told me when it comes to advocating, you gotta put on the news, because if it ain't on the news, it ain't happen. So you gotta put it out there, you know, and honestly start organizing and start actually thinking about change and looking at ways that can actually help benefit the community and help create social change, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, just realize that politics is a game. It's everything. You know? And honestly, you can't keep running away from it. You know? It's always there. It's kind of like death and taxes. It's always there. So, yeah. You gotta face it, and you gotta always be on the right side of the issue. And I believe knowing what you believe, knowing what you stand on, and coming together as a people puts you on the right side of the issue. And yeah.
Jadon, one question. What would you say to a young person who's thinking about getting involved with the program or has questions about it?
Anyone is wrong, I would just tell them about this program, because this program will help me out. If you do anybody's confidence, it will definitely help that room. I know a lot of people that debate a lot of things. Even if it's stupid, it's still debate.
You're saying this program allows You all have smart babies. I love it. Okay, so how do you envision Morrisburg youth organizing in the next 5 to 10 years? What would you say to really good in Morrisburg? How can we, they improve the program? I would love for everyone to answer that.
I feel like by supporting us right now and helping us build a base of youth organizing so that we can grow and that we can impact everyone.
See, just, yeah, help us out now, and honestly, what did I just say? You know, yeah, honestly, this go out and help us, you know, organize, know about what's going on with the community, know about what's happening in the past. Honestly, know about your politicians, know about your local leaders, know about your county, state, all that, school district, whatever, you know, because it doesn't start federally. It always starts locally. It always starts at your own home, your own house.
So what I wanted you to answer was how would you, what advice would you give to more leaders and being able to, like, in the next 5 to 10 years, what would you like for this youth program to be? What would you like to see different? How could it be improved in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh. Okay. Honestly, what I see is more stronger and more interconnected. We're already family right now with the small people that we have. That's the opposite. But
So you're saying more base building among young people?
I see, hopefully, you know, us mentoring, you know, the future leaders tomorrow, honestly.
I mean, think about more base building among young people. What needs to happen to get more young people involved?
It's us right now speaking to inspire kids, actors, students,
Why it's important, why you as a kid, just you in general, is important to have your voice, you know. The United States of America, you know, freedom of speech. So you got to express that and use that in a way to, you know, help benefit society.
Thank you for that. Last question before we close. What is one hope or dream you each have for yourself, your future, and Kansas City? And again, this is personal. Like, tell me where, what do you want to do, what do you want to be? One hope or dream you have for yourself, your future, and this amazing city that we live in.
So I want to become a neurologist, specifically like a neuroresearcher. So in the future, I just hope to help people as I am now. Just more like on a medical level. And for Kansas City, I just hope that even just like our worship people is better, just the environment is better. Because so much is good, and I feel like it should be better for everyone, not just I feel like it should be everyone should be.
Yeah.
I want to see me actually doing things I want to do. Be faithful with my friends and then being serving. Because me and my friends were, even though I was the guilt of it, so we can't really do it. Like, we can't really play it. So, what I dream, I don't know,
We'll check back on the next year.
Kansas, I just want Kansas City to be a better place.
When you say better, what do you want to be better in Kansas City?
I don't like the entertainment and all that. Like, I think it was a week ago, she said about, where's the phone? Yeah, show us something.
So you're saying you like to see more for young people to do, more safe options for young people to have something to do?
Because every time, like, brothers here, I see a lot of them. A lot of people enjoy, like, peace and, like, when they're part of this peace. And where they can actually, enjoy themselves.
I think that's fun, safely. Deborah, last question.
Honestly, I see myself as a lawyer, and as a lot of people see me as a politician. That's not me. But yeah, honestly, to be real, I want to just help out all people. I love this community. I love Kansas City. I love, honestly, it's something that brings me joy. My own pursuit of happiness. So, yeah, I just want to help out people. And honestly, as a city, what I hope to see is I'm not going to say as a city, as a whole nation. I see hopefully us being able to bridge the gap between economic equity within our own, people. Less food deserts, more food waste, less food swamps, more healthy, nutritious food, more healthy, nutritious foods, more healthy, nutritious grocery stores. So people can actually get the food that they deserve, more better access to education, so people don't go dumb and honestly come out as illiterate people who are on the wrong side of history, more less violence, so we can have the ability to be free and feel liberated without having the burden of worrisome or right. It's just, yeah, we're going to healthcare though. So people will also want to have to worry some whether or not they can be able to afford just so they can be able to afford healthy products, healthy things for them, honestly, and just overall just a better quality of life.
Thank you all so much for being here. That was amazing. I appreciate you all answering all my questions. Before we conclude, I just want to do a call to action. This is more service, nothing, something about action. So as we talk to us about how people who are listening to us now and checking us out online, how can they get involved in this program?
There is a spreadsheet in the chat box right now so that you can sign up, put your name, email, phone number to get in contact with us so we can contact you so that you can support our youth right here, us three, eliminating fines and fees and our future, all of our future endeavors.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time. You all did an amazing job. And like I said at the beginning of our time together, this is part 2 of the 4-part series. The next series will be on October 16th, and we will update you in regards to the details, the content, and the where and the when on